Last year when I was working for one of my Swedish clients, so I saw that the browser was issuing multiple duplicate requests for every interactions I did with the application. Now at first look, it did not appear to me as an issue because I thought that maybe it was something that was, inherent to the application the way it has been coded, or probably it's something of a requirement for the application. I went on to build my scripts for performance testing the application by taking in all those requests, even the duplicate ones. But then a few days into all these activities, suddenly it hit my mind that why on earth was there duplicate requests in the application? What was the purpose? Why was it there in the first place? I decided to go in and probe a little further into this to understand why these requests were being issued as duplicates. So when I looked into the request URLs, the request payloads, and the responses that came out of these requests, I found that they were the exact same requests and the response. I went on Google, I did a bit of search, and I found an article that said that these kind of things happen for a lot of different companies, even for top tier companies, even for top websites. And I was really astonished to find this as a fact that these things do happen for bigger companies and websites as well, that they fail to identify duplicate requests being issued in their applications. Now, it may not seem to be a major problem because one duplicate request does not really mean anything, does not really affect anything because we are looking things from a one user perspective. Now, as engineers, we all know that small, simple issues become complex at scale. Imagine that your application has been used by thousands or millions of users. Where does that put us now? Thousands of concurrent users accessing your application at the same time. They're going to issue thousands of duplicate requests. So it's not only going to slow down your application because your backend is working harder now and serve these duplicate requests, which is also bringing down your overall capacity of your application to process legit requests coming from users. So on the whole, if you look at this from a broader perspective, then you will realize that if your application has even one duplicate request, then the amount of performance penalty that your application and infrastructure has to pay is enormous. And it all translates into a good amount of cost as well, because even if you are on cloud and your application can scale up, all that scaling is for nothing because you're not issuing genuine requests that needs to be served by the application. So it's very important that all these duplicate requests needs to be identified and weeded out immediately from the application so that your application can uh, operate at its optimum, and it does not really have to work hard to on these duplicate requests. Your backend does not have to get maxed out because of this unnecessary duplicate requests. So now let's try to understand what basically causes these duplicate requests. All of these issues are mostly attributable to the way style sheets are used on top of HTML web elements. There's different ways that these issues can pop up because the style sheets have been applied on the HTML in such malformed ways that it can create duplicate requests. It's all down to how the browsers interpret your code. The article also outlines a lot of different CSS usages which can cause these duplicate requests to show up on your application and how the browsers issue these duplicate requests. So there's a detailed table for the most popular browsers of like Chrome, Safari, and Firefox. Okay, so coming down to how do we identify this? Now, this is kind of a pretty niche error. So it's about how you are using your style sheets, how you are writing your codes, and how the browser basically interprets all that code. So there isn't any proper audit tools or tools that you can use that can identify these issues for you quickly within the code. So it all comes down to identifying them manually. You can use a bit of your due diligence within the application, what kind of code that you have written on top of your HTML pages. So what you can do is on the developer tools, you will have to diligently check that what are the different requests that the browser is sending to your application every time you interact with it. And then you can start looking at the initiator column of all those requests. So what is causing this request to be initiated? I'm going to put down the link of the article below in the description so that you can refer to that and you can check that how these duplicate requests can be a problem within the application and how they can offset the total capacity planning that you've made for your application. So that's it for this video. See you in the next one. Thank you.